My name is Kathleen Dixon-Donnelly, and I teach in the Business and Marketing Department of the Business School, and I teach primarily public relations. And I have also been doing some teaching and work with our Masters in Public Relations students in the media school. So I'm in both, sort of. To be honest, from the student's perspective, I think that they think of teachers who go the extra mile as the ones who, even with things like just stopping to talk to them and answering questions after class, rather than some who seem too busy and they're in a hurry to get on, responding right away to emails, things. And also, I think giving them more one-on-one kind of feedback with their particular assignments that they're working on. I mean, I find a lot of times we say things in class and then they'll come up individually and they're asking the same thing, But I think it's because unless you're talking directly to them one-on-one, that they think you're talking about someone else. So I think they think of extra mile teachers as the one who are willing to give a more personalized kind of view of their work and their academic experience way. Well, I mean, first of all, it was from the students, so it meant so much more than any other kind of award, truly. And creative and engaging was also just a delight because actually when I came here, I had taught a lot of classes in creative thinking and creative concepts. And then I came here and I brought some creative exercises and things that we'd done. I helped out with the creative problem solving module. So this is one of in my area of research was about creative people. So this has been one of my big areas. And I felt that over the past few years, there's been kind of less of that. So I'm really glad to think that there were students who felt that I was being creative and engaging, both. So I would say of all the categories, that would have been the one I would have wanted most to be nominated in. Well, a lot of times, I mean, teachers really remember. We really remember when they say nasty things, but we really do remember the little gems. And sometimes it's just something like they say, oh, you mentioned so-and-so in class, and I looked into it, and now I'm working in that field or something, So sometimes it's after they've graduated, and they come back to us and remind us of something we did that we don't even remember, maybe. All of this is related. I did a project for a class I was taking about listening. And I think teachers, we often feel students aren't listening to us, but I think sometimes we're not listening enough to them. So in working on this project, I've found myself being a lot more conscious of that and kind of listening to what students are really telling us. The university's put in this whole big attendance monitoring thing. Well, when they're not coming to class, I think they're telling us that we're really boring and that, and that we should be listening more to this. They're trying to tell us something. So there's this fable. I Googled it once, and it shows up in all these different stories, so nobody knows who wrote it, but it's this story about the kid walking down the beach, and there's all these starfish that have been beached, and they're all flopping around like this. And the kid is taking each one and throwing them back, but there's thousands of them. And this guy comes along and he says, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's so many thousands. What can you do? And the kid has the one starfish, and he says, it mattered to that one. And I just think as teachers, that's true every single day, that we feel like, oh, why am I bothering to do this? Or, look at their marks and look at what they wrote. Why didn't they get it? And then you get that one, and you think, well, it mattered to that one. And so if you get a couple of those in a semester, it kind of makes it, well worth it to go through the whole semester. I mean, I just came from our department meeting, and there's a new set of forms, and there's more forms after that. And they came up with another form, and thinking, but when are we supposed to teach, And the emphasis, I know in our department, and our department head feels that way also, that we should be teaching. And sometimes we feel that there's all these people above us who are so much more interested in having all these other forms and things done, and that the teaching kind of gets, when I say teaching in the classroom, but also, the one-on-one with students, then it kind of gets swept under the rug. So overall, I think this university, because it is a teaching university as opposed to a research university, that it is a lot more based around the student experience. So my teaching philosophy is let them do all the work. And just keep putting it back on the students. If I do it for them, they're never going to learn it. So I keep putting it back on them. And I find, I mean, because I've been teaching a long time now, but every year, you know, I just kept treating more and more of that. Of the more they do, the less we do, the more they'll get out of it. And even when you think that's what you're doing, and then after one session, I'll think, I just stood there talking at them. That doesn't make any difference. How could I do that differently? So, you know, for each class, it's kind of, each class session, it's kind of, okay, what do they need to get out of this session that will be assessed? Because let's face it, if it's not assessed, why should they, you know? And then what's the best way for them to get that? But we start from the assumption that you're interested in this and you probably want to work in this field someday and that you're here because you want to be. And so, you know, we need students to kind of put their hand up and take initiative and engage too. And this whole idea of engagement, I think it's a kind of a buzzword, but it's really important. So, you know, we can only do so much. The students learn because of what they get out of it. And so I think in terms of disappointments or frustrations, you know, it's that of the students who don't come to see us if there's a problem and who don't do their part of the class. So that's why I find the more we kind of back off and say, you know, I'm throwing it back to you, then a lot more of them tend to kind of bubble up to the surface. You know, cream rises is kind of the theory that I work on.